what it is, what it is. How about you, driver? It's your boy, the double easy Q to the DZ. Hope everything's good out there for y'all. Happy holidays and all that good stuff. If you don't know who I'm is, then you're sleeping under a rock. Let's get to it, man. This video is for my boy, Smooth Operator, and anybody else that might find this information useful. We're talking about leasing, operating like leasing as far as leasing a truck, lease purchases, lease to lease, truck only. I talked a little bit about this at the end of my video about how I did it and what my, suggestions and, things will be is what this video is going to be about. So I'm just going to pick up kind of where I left off at. Oh my God, somebody trying to call. I'm not taking this call. They're going to have to wait. So picking up where I left off, basically, right after I left Warner, 4 months out of school, and I was like, man, I wasn't making the money thought I was going to make at Warner, and wow, I'm getting crazy calls, y'all. As soon as I decided to start recording this video, other than that, my phone had been dead. But yeah, I started realizing I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make, and which I think happens to most new drivers. They come out here and they thinking that they're gonna make, I don't know how much money they think they're gonna make, but more than what they probably make when they get out here and they realize, oh, this ain't it, trucking sucks, and they get out of it. And a lot of people told me, like most people, you gotta run a year, 2 years before you find a really good, job or place, and I just was like, nah, it's got to be another way. And I left Warner. I went to a company in Chicago. They did lease to lease, and then they also did lease purchase. Well, I went into it because I had already did enough research to know I wasn't really trying to go into a lease purchase. I just wanted to be able to call the shots and buy back my time, because that's one of the main things about trucking. You give up so much of your time, and I wanted to be able to be home when I wanted, do the things that I wanted to do, but also have control over where I ran. And the most important part about it was I wanted to learn the business, because I had a feeling that I was going to need to know the business if I was going to stay in this for any amount of time that I thought I was going to stay into this. So I got down there in Chicago. They put me in a brand new Volvo. Still had the plastic on it. And I went out my first week with them. Now, before I get into that, when you're leasing like that, you still have to, pay that truck. Even though you got the opportunity to call the shots, you still got to pay that lease every week, whether you work or not. So my first week, I made right at about $2,800. And I'm gonna tell you, I was like, holy cow. Because when I left Warner, when I first started with Warner, I was on the Walmart account and I was doing like $1,300, $1,400, a week. And then it went from that to like $400 or $500. Yeah, I was home every day, but I didn't get out here to be playing. I got out here to make money, right? So to get that $2,800 on my first as a lease operator, and mind you, that was after they took the $1,200 out and all the fees out for the truck. So I said, this is the numbers I need. This is how you do it. And I did that for about 3.5 months, maybe 4 months. And during that time, I learned how to deal with dispatchers. I learned how, to say, no, I don't want to drive here. I don't want to drive there. Or, okay, send me home. I'm going to be home for 2 days or 3 days. And I stacked my money while I was with them. I was making really good money. And I kept stacking. So if I wanted to take off for a week, I had that $1,200 already sitting. So either I paid them directly or I would just let them keep that first check. Because where a lot of guys go wrong, like I was saying, is they get out there, they go to these companies like Swift and US Express and Variant and do these lease purchases, and they think that, okay, well, I can go home and I can sit out as long as I want. Oh yeah, they'll let you sit out. But when you come back, if you sit out 2 weeks, you're gonna be 2 weeks negative. And them payments, $800, $900, $600, $700 a week. And that's before the trailer rental and all that stuff and your insurance and stuff. And then you trying to play catch up. I knew I couldn't play that game. I needed to get out there and make as much money as I could, as fast as I could, and that's what I did. Now, to bring you back up, once I did that, I gave them their truck back, and I said, all right, I'm gonna go back and see if I can find a company back at home, in Florida, which I did, which was a smaller company, which brings me back to, I always recommend, if you're going to do a lease to buy, go with a smaller company, a mom and pop company, because 9 times out of 10, you got a good chance of completing the lease successfully without a large balloon payment or no balloon payment, and get out of it decent and own the truck outright. Because you got to understand that a lot of these leases are not, especially the lease purchases. Lease purchases, most of them with these big companies, they are not designed for you to be successful. Because what you got to understand, guys, is that these companies, these carriers, they're not in business to sell trucks. They're in business to move freight. If they sell you a truck, they know 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a point where they're going to lose you as a driver. So it's not designed and geared, excuse me, for you. Something got in my throat, man. It's not designed for you to really be successful. It's not really designed for you to make a whole lot of money. It's designed for them to make as much as they can off of you and still make money for the freight that you move. It's just business. If you're able to be successful and make it, then hoorah, hoorah. You're one of the few. But generally with a smaller mom and pop company, it's in their best interest to make sure that you're successful, you're happy, you're making money, you're going to stay, and then you're going to have a truck. Now, let me tell you about my experience with the smaller company. They were a great company. Let me just start out by saying that. They also fixed trucks. They had older trucks. They specialized in, they liked it, the 60 series trucks. So they had a lot of 06s, 08s, 09s, and the trucks they leased were those trucks. And I had a 06 Columbia, great running truck. It ran good. It did have issues, unbeknownst to me, that, inevitably, kind of deterred me from staying. Now, without getting into a whole lot, it had nothing to do with the lease, because my lease was only $600 a week. And that was with the trailer, my insurance, and the truck, because I think they were only charging me like $300 a week for the truck. And my lease stated that I had to stay 3 years. After the 3 years, the truck was mine. And I could have, and I would have. I mean, I was making really good money with them. But like I said, me and one of the owners, when we had some issues with the truck, and they told me they had put a rebuilt engine in it. I mean, they rebuilt the engine completely. It ran good when I first got it. And long story short, a hose had blew off, and it overheated, needed a head gasket. When I looked at the hoses, the rest of the hoses that was on the truck, they were all old and brittle, and they wanted me to pay for the head job. And I was like, no, I don't think I should be paying for this, because this should not have happened. And hence, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and start making my way to get up out of here. They did fix the truck, which I don't want to get too far off topic, but that was one of the good things about the smaller companies. They'll fix the truck and they will take it out of your settlement if you have a problem. This is attractive to some guys that are just starting out or just trying to learn. And then most of these leases are walk-away leases. All of them, even the last one I was just talking about was a walk-away lease. So that's one good thing. You want to go to a lease where you can walk away from it if you're going to just be out here tapping the waters to try and learn. So I ended up staying. They put the head gasket in, but I only think I stayed with them another week after that. I had been with them for about a year at that time. I only had 2 years ago, and I would have owned the truck. But I decided that, no, I'm going to just go ahead and step off. And I ended up buying my first truck cash, and hence I went to Landstar. So that's how I ended up at Landstar. But I would go back to these guys in a heartbeat. We're cool now. I mean, actually, they're the only ones I'll ever even let work on my truck. They work on my truck when I don't have time to do it, or I can't do it, or I don't have the equipment to do the things that I need to do, major jobs, knock on wood, which I haven't had to do. They'll do. They did my oil seals and tubes when I did that video, and I had to get the truck towed somewhere. I'd had it towed there because I was like, might as well just tow it into a shop, because I ain't gonna do it. But those guys are great. Still good friends of mine to this day, Miguel and Cruz. Good guys. So with that being said, when you got a company that will help you repair the truck, because when you lease to buy, they looking at that truck as yours, which is one of the reasons why I left the place in Chicago, because I had a brand new truck. Most of these companies, when they're leasing you a truck, they're going to take out what they call an escrow. And it's like 10, 15 cents a mile, until some of them do 2,000, some of them do 1,000. I've heard some of them doing 3,000. In my opinion, it's just a ripoff, because they claim that money is for repairs on the truck or leftover tolls or something. If you decide to walk away, then they supposed to give you that money back if there's no damage. I don't ever, one company I've ever got my money back from, and that was Landstar. Only company I got my full money from. And I think one other company I got part of my money from. But I'll tell you, most of the time you're not. But my issue is, and I want you guys to think about this, if you go and lease a new truck, most of the time they got factory warranties. They're still under warranty. Why are you taking money out of my settlement for that? I can understand we're going to take a few $100s. I even go as far as 1,000. We'll take $1,000 for toll and maybe unpaid fuel or something. But to be taking money out on a brand new truck, talking about just in case repairs, I don't buy it, and that's what they were doing with me in the Chicago place, which was another reason why I was like, let me get from under this, because I was paying $4,000 a month, for that truck. Now, this company, the last company, I don't remember, I think Cruz and them made it did 1,000, and it was like, for leftover stuff. They did a lot of their own repairs. But maybe, let's say I walked away and it was a repair that I didn't pay for all the way, then that escrow is supposed to help with that. But a lot of times with these big carriers, and they putting these guys in these brand new trucks, they're taking the escrow money out from you on a brand new truck. So think about that. We're already a red flag. Now, I won't say it's all bad, because if you go into it with the mindset of buying the truck, that's when you're going to have problems. If you're going, you got to know why you're doing it. If you're doing it to buy a truck, I'm going to say go with a smaller company. If you're doing it to learn the business, it don't matter who you go with, because you ain't got no intentions on buying a truck. But just know that lease money is going to be just wasted lease money. And I say wasted in a good way, because It's just no different from you going to Penske or somebody and renting a semi and using it for work. I looked at it like that money I paid them to lease that truck, that was to rent the truck to make money, because I made money and I gave it back when I was done with it, you know? And that, me doing that allowed me to save up money to buy my first truck. So it's not all bad. It's about really what you make it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna cut this short. We're at about 15, 16 minutes, and you can, you know, so leasing is not bad. I did it. I know a guy that went to Snyder. Let me jump on Snyder real quick. So with Snyder, you can lease a truck onto a carrier. You put about $5,000 down, but keep in mind, Snyder is not a walk away. You're locking in because they're letting you take that truck to wherever you want to take it. And then you get the option to buy it at the end, which is a big balloon payment, because they have a lot of new trucks, but they also have some older trucks. So my friend, he got a 2018 from Snyder, put it on with Landstar. It's paid off now. That was about 5 years ago. It's paid off now. And he ended up having to pay $15,000. I think he said his balloon payment. He was smart. He had Landstar take about 10 cents. He told me 25 cents a mile or something like that out. He had taken out for those 3 years, and it went into an escrow. When that lease came up to the end, he sent them that $15,000. They sent them the title. That was Snyder. Now, the thing is, with that first company I was with, they offered me the option to buy the truck, but I knew I was just starting out. And I knew that truck was, back then, that truck was about $170,000. And I knew it was already overpriced. It was like, you know, right before COVID. And I'm like, nah, I'm not, no, let me lease. I'm okay with leasing, because I have no intentions on trying to stay here long enough to pay off a $160,000 truck. Now with Snyder, if you're your own carrier, back then, when I looked into Snyder, they told me, they charge carriers about $10,000, you know, versus if I was taking a truck like most of the guys were doing, putting them on Landstar, they only charge you $5,000. And you can go and pick your truck out and everything, and whatever one you want, and then they'll let you put it on, and then that's it, you know. Yeah, they'll let you do that, and that's it. So basically, you know, what happens is, at the end of that, you'll have that balloon payment. I know one guy, he had a 2022 or something like that, and he ended up paying just that $50,000 is what his balloon payment on, but his truck was like $140,000. I think he had already paid like $140,000 into it. So think about it. Now you put another 50. You're overpaying. And that's one of the things with Snyder. You're going to overpay, because what you got to understand is, when it comes to these leases, especially when you're leasing from a carrier, they're not in the business to sell trucks. You know, Swift ain't in the business to sell trucks. You know, US Express is not in the business to sell trucks. Western Express is not in the business to sell trucks. So when they offer you a lease purchase, you got to think, it's not designed to be in the driver's best interest. It's designed to be in the carrier's best interest. They want to make as much money as they can, basically get somebody to pay their lease for them. And if you stay, cool. If you don't, they'll put another body in and keep the cycle going. But the thing is, they're not in the business of selling trucks, because they know if they sell you that truck outright and you can afford to buy it, they know they're going to lose drivers. So you got to think about that. Well, I'm going to keep this short. We can come back to this at another time. Short, right? We did 20 minutes in, 19 minutes in. So it's your boy, Cute Deezy. I hope this information was helpful. Smooth operator, this was for you, baby. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and all that good stuff. Peace out.
Bye.